Doria Russell is a local author of national and international acclaim. She asked me to announce here that A Thread of Grace is the third of her 5 novels. Her most recent novel, you may have seen this in the newspaper, Doc, has just been optioned for an HBO series. However, hopefully this time, the seed will be sowed, it will fertilize, and then it will bear goodly fruit, which means hopefully it'll make it into production. Because the last ones did not, through no fault of hers. Both A Thread of Grace and Doc were nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. It is a privilege to welcome her to our Bema this evening.
In the past few years, I have done 9 book tours in 6 countries to support my first 5 novels. That's a lot of traveling, and it's a lot of small talk with a lot of strangers. But in the beginning, I was so excited about getting The Sparrow published that I would look for excuses to tell people in airports that I was a novelist on a book tour. And people would say, "Cool, what's your book about?" And I would say, it's about Jesuits in space. Those of you who have tried to get friends to read The Sparrow know what I'm up against. You say Jesuits in space, people get that glazed look in their eyes. They start to back away from you. You're like, no, really, it's good. It's science fiction, but it's really, really classy science fiction. It's got like Latin and everything. When people asked me what my 3rd book was about, it was much easier. I would say it's about the Jewish underground near Genoa during the Nazi occupation of Italy. And the reaction was nearly always, "Wow, I'd like to read that," which was such a relief. I would try not to fall to the floor and kiss their feet because, you know, people get embarrassed when you do that. And airport security is so touchy these days. When authors are on tour, they are constantly asked, "Where do you get your ideas?" All writers get that question all the time. Where do you get your ideas? It's hard not to get a little punchy when you hear it over and over again. So, like, I often say, Walmart. All the ideas are imported from China now. But there's a question underneath that question. When people ask, "Where do you get your ideas?" I think what they really want to know is, how does an author decide to write about one thing and not another? You know, out of the universe of ideas, why did you pick this one? So to explain how I got started on A Thread of Grace, I have to tell you 2 things about myself. First off, my maiden name is Doria. The more elderly and august among us will remember the Andrea Doria, which was an ocean liner that went down in the 1950s. I was taking swimming lessons that summer. On September 8th of 1943, the Jewish population of Italy is believed to have been 50,000 souls. 20 brutal months later, when Germany finally surrendered, approximately 43,000 Jews were still alive. I'm going to give you those numbers again. 50,000 to start. 43,000 survived. That may be the highest survival rate in occupied Europe. It's hard to get exact figures from any of these countries, but from 85 to 87% of the Jews of Italy survived the Holocaust. And that's all the more remarkable because that figure includes thousands of foreign Jews who were hiding in Italy when the Nazi occupation began. In Bulgaria, for example, a high percentage of native-born Jews were saved by their king. But 12,000 foreigners were handed over to the Nazis for deportation. People tend to believe that the Dutch showed remarkable solidarity with their Jewish neighbors because everybody knows about a handful of Jews who were hidden in an attic with Anne Frank and her family. People often forget that all of them were ratted out a few months before the end of the war. Certainly the Danes deserve respect and gratitude for smuggling 7,100 Jews across their country to safety in neutral Sweden. Each dash across Denmark was a death-defying risk. But to understand Jewish survival in occupied Italy, you have to imagine 50,000 Anne Franks. 50,000 Jews hidden in apartments and houses and barns, in seminaries and convents and monasteries, not for days or for weeks, but for months and nearly 2 years. The Gestapo and Waffen-SS searched door to door, town to town, valley to valley. They offered large cash bounties for Jews. They carried out public executions of anyone caught concealing them. They made it a capital offense that if Jews were even caught hiding on your property, you would be killed. And they hoped that that would encourage farmers to drive Jews away. Neither the bribes nor the intimidation worked. In writing this book, I studied mountains of histories, memoirs, and biographies. I interviewed elderly people in Italy, as well as here in the United States. I talked to survivors and rescuers, Jews and Catholics, priests, rabbis, nuns, communists, fascists, Catholic actionists, as well as ordinary folks who just got through that war the best they could. If we estimate that only 10 people knew and aided each of the surviving 43,000 Jews, that means a minimum of 430,000 Italians were righteous Gentiles.